Happy day one of Femme Fantail. I mean, it won't be by the time you're watching this, but I am kicking off my vlog. It's already the evening on the first day because I've just had a mad busy day. Hi, sandwich. So I haven't done a ton of reading until this evening, but I have started my first book and I'm currently 10 pages in, which means I've read the first chapter, so I thought I'd update you and just say hi. It's Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. So this, for me, fulfills the North America challenge because this is by a North American author. It's by a Native American author. And I'm hoping this one's going to be quite quick and like a good one to start the readathon off with because it's actually not that long. It's less than 300 pages or just under 300. It's a hardback, but it's not a very thick hardback. And it's also YA, and to be fair, from the first chapter that I read, that was like super quick, but I also jumped straight into the action and I'm very intrigued because it's set in a sort of futuristic dystopian type world with our main character who's sort of like a monster hunter in this dystopian world, and she is from a Native American background herself, and right at the beginning of this book she is requested to go in search of a little girl that was stolen by a monster. So don't know what to expect next, but like I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be like really fun, fast-paced like read that could be like a good one to start the momentum with for the readathon. So that's what I'm picking up first, although I do need to start the audiobook of A Dance with Fates, which is the Juliet Marillier book I'm reading, and that's for the Oceania prompt. I'm also wanting to start that, but I'm probably going to wait until tomorrow morning because I'm buddy reading it with Jill and Lauren, so I can't put it off because I want to buddy read and like keep up with them and like chat about it. So this evening I'm going to like crack on with this. I'm hoping to read at least 50 pages, but you know, if I could read 100, that would be incredible. So maybe I could have like a really epic evening of reading. We have some reading sprints later in the day for myself and Jill in our time zone, which is British summer time, because we're doing some reading sprints at 10 p.m. here, so I should hopefully get like a good chunk of reading done then, and a little bit before then, maybe after, maybe I'll have like a late night, but it's a Sunday and I do like to get to bed reasonably early so I can wake up early in the morning, but we'll see. Like I'm feeling quite energized and excited to crack on with the readathon, so I want to like really take advantage of that, and that's kind of like where we're at. Just thought I'd sort of say hi, start things off. This is my first time vlogging on my iPhone 11. I got the iPhone 11 last month, I think it was, and honestly I'm so impressed by the quality of the photographs and everything on this, and I also feel like the video quality is a little bit better, so that's going to be like nice in terms of like reading vlogs, because for reading vlogs I just prefer to use my iPhone. I don't have like a smaller camera than my big DSLR, so I think it just makes more sense, and it'll be cool if this is sort of better quality. Let me know if you feel like the quality is better in terms of sound and video, but it's pretty late at night and I still feel like I'm clearer than I usually would be when I do these little clips. I mean, maybe that nobody needs that. Maybe nobody needs to see all these bits of hair sticking out. But I think that's pretty good. So I'm rambling. I realise that like I'm feeling quite like pumped and full of adrenaline from my like busy day, and also a little bit tired. And you know when you're sort of like you've been like energized but then are a bit tired and you get a little bit delirious? That's how I get anyway. And obviously I'm like in the mood for reading and excited about the readathon. So all in all, just what a start to the vlog. Hopefully it wasn't too painful, and I will sort of like keep you updated throughout the next 8 days, check in with you, share some little vlogs with you, some little bits of reading with you, and yeah, hope you've all had a nice readathon as well, since this will be going up after the readathon. But I'm also like going to be engaging with people on Twitter and Instagram, so that'll be nice, and just chatting about our books. So yeah, we'll check in with you in the next clip. Let the reading commence. last month I posted a blog post which was of all the books I was most excited for coming out in September, and I really enjoyed that. I'd not done that in ages, but to be honest, there is usually loads of books I'm excited about coming out, and I don't want to do an anticipated releases video every month, so this was a lot of fun. I sort of did it on the back of the fact that so many books were coming out in September, but I quickly realised that there's actually tons of books coming out in October that I'm really excited for as well, so I'm going to do another one just now, and I'm just going to type that up before like my official workday starts, just like a little bit of added extra bonus morning now that Jill and I have just wrapped up our reading sprints. And I thought I would just tell you in case you didn't know that I had a blog or that I posted this, because I probably share it on Twitter, but this might be something you're interested in if you like to keep up with sort of new releases and want to know what I'm excited for. So I will link it down below in the description box, and obviously it will be finished by then. Just now it's literally just this collage I've created. I still need to do all the text. So it's actually Tuesday. As you can tell, my hair is wet. I just brushed it through. And I thought I would just update you on my reading because I didn't really do like a proper check-in yesterday. Honestly, I'm feeling a bit funny, anxious, what have you. I think just like the COVID blues have spiked. I had like a proper intense nightmare last night about the apocalypse. So that was fun. Really manifesting my anxieties in my sleep. So I don't know, I'm just like a bit off. But actually, thankfully, I've got I've got work to do today, but I've got 2 days of work for a company that I work for at the moment that I've got a contract with. Wednesday, Thursday, which is quite good, I think, when you're like in a funny headspace, because you can really like settle down, like do that 9 to 5, like really focus on tasks somebody else is giving you and like interacting with colleagues and just like focus. Otherwise, a lot of my own work, anything from like PhD to YouTube to like little bits of writing, is like a little bit like jumping around. Like it's very much my own schedule, if that makes sense, which is great, and I really appreciate that. And I'm not trying to like paint that as a bad thing, but I think then when you're in a funny headspace, it can be really hard to focus without sort of that structure. So I'm glad I've got those things to do over the next few days. And today I'm about to head off to the post office and post a few things that I sold on my Depop, and then come back and do like basically just like life admin today. I've like got a bunch of stuff I need to chase up at university, and just like need to send some emails and, you know, all of those fun things. So not too like hard a day, but I'm in a funny headspace. So I think like you need to sort of go at your own pace at the moment where possible, and that's what I'm trying to do today. But I thought I would let you know how I'm getting on with my reading. So this is a Trail of Lightning. I've taken the dust jacket off and I'm almost halfway through this one. I'm certainly not reading quite as quickly as I'd hoped, but before this readathon even started, I was in quite the reading slump and hadn't been reading much. I'd finished like 2 or 3 books this month, which isn't like a lot compared to what I usually read, and they weren't very long books. And one or two of them were actually books that I'd started the previous month, so I'd like not been reading much as it was. So like the fact that I'm not reading that fast at the beginning of this readathon isn't that surprising, but really actually compared to the speed I've been reading at all month, it is better, it is an improvement. So I was hoping the readathon would help me out of that funk a little bit, and I'm hoping that I will definitely finish this in the next like day or two. I was also like unsure of it at the beginning. It's quite like a fast-paced YA, like it very much has the tone of a typical like fast-paced, like action-packed YA storyline, like a bit of antagonistic banter, some like sort of angsty feelings towards people in the romantic department. And it just felt like a little bit like your typical story, and it wasn't bad, but because of that I also wasn't like falling for it. But we've met a few new characters now. We've been introduced to more of the sort of like deities slash like otherworldly like the higher beings like Coyote, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it really brought like some of like the characters' personalities to life, seeing them all interact with one another. So I really enjoyed that, and I feel like it's kind of picking up in intrigue, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go. So that was really nice last night. I felt like I got to a point where I was like, yes, I'm like into this book now. Before I was reading it, but now I'm like in it, if that makes sense. So I'm looking forward to like carrying on with it tonight and on my lunch break, etc, etc. And I also started the audiobook of A Dance with Fates by Juliet Miller, which is the sequel to Harp of Kings, which I'm buddy reading with Lauren and Jill. And that one seriously like started on the action as well, like in a way I was surprised, compared to a lot of Juliet Miller's other books are quite slow paced and take a while to get to the action, but I like the way they do that. This was like right in there. But I also realised, talking about it with Lauren and Jill, that I hadn't read the blurb for this book, because it was book 2 in a series that I knew I was already enjoying and planning on reading. I didn't even think to read the blurb and listening to it on audiobook. So what actually happens in like the first 2 chapters is in the blurb, but like it's not a surprise if you read the blurb. It was just a surprise to me, and I was like, oh my goodness, where is this story going to go? But in total, I think I've listened to maybe like 5 or 6 chapters, but that isn't a lot. Maybe an hour or 2 of the audiobook, but the audiobook's definitely over 10 hours. I feel like it's 12, 13 something. It's on my phone, so I can't check right now, but it's like quite a long audiobook. So I'm not like super far into it, but I'm certainly like getting on with it, and it's nice being able to chat with. I love reading these books with Lauren and Jill, because Lauren and Jill and I buddy read the entire Blackthorn and Grimm series by Juliet Miller. I don't think I've got any books to hand. Oh, here's book 2. So this series we buddy read all 3 books in this series and loved it, and like got to know the characters together. And then we decided we would read Juliet Miller's new series together without even realising that the main characters in these books are descendants of the characters in this book. Just hit myself in the face with the book, which is pretty typical. So that was like even more fun, and we feel like we really know everything in the world, and we have like sort of like our in-jokes now that we relate to one another, having read all the books together. So that's really nice, and that's kind of where I'm at with my reading. I don't want to start another physical book on my TBR until I finish this. I'm hoping to finish this today or tomorrow. I'm not like trying to like go wild or push myself too hard, but one of those 2 days, and then I can pick up one of my other books. And I'm not sure what one I want to read next, actually, so we'll just see. That's going to be very much like a in the moment decision. But it was also really nice doing some reading sprints yesterday with everyone. So I always love like engaging during this readathon and just chatting about like female authored fantasy and science fiction, and just having that level of engagement, which is really nice. I also have decided not to film any videos. I mean, I'm filming this vlog, but it doesn't feel the same. It's way more casual, obviously. But I decided not to film a video for 7 days, which might not seem like a big deal. And it means there's not a video going up for 7 days, which again is not a big deal. But usually I upload like 2 to 3 times a week, and I've been uploading a ton all year really. And I think I'm just like, yeah, like I said, I've had a bit of a spike of the blues, so I'm just sort of trying to put not so much pressure on myself this week and just be like okay with not being okay. So that's cool. And I mean, I don't like, please don't take that the wrong way either. Like I also feel like there's lots of other things happening, and I'm not like completely miserable or anything like that, but that's the thing about moods, they're not consistent. Even like when you're happy, sometimes you have a little bit of a drop, and that's okay. So I won't go now. I think I've covered everything I need to cover in this portion of the vlog. Hope you are enjoying watching, and I will see you in the next clip. So this is a slight detour. Oh, sorry, I just realised I can do wide angle on video on this phone. Right. This is a slight detour, but this just came in the post before I start work, and it's not by a woman, but I had to mention it because I think this might be one of my most excited, like most anticipated pieces of book post all year. Is Christopher Paolini's new book, which is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, and this is huge. So this is around 900 pages hardback, and Christopher Paolini wrote the Eragon series, the Inheritance Cycle, which is one of my favourite series of all time, and was one of my favourite series growing up, but like still is today. And this is his first book that is not set in that world. So he has got a companion collection of stories also set in Allegasia, which is the world of Eragon, but this is the first book that he has released which is A, not fantasy because it's sci-fi, and B, not set in the inheritance world because it's just like its own thing. And I am so excited. I just got it in the post from Book Break, which is the Pan Macmillan YouTube channel. I'll link that down below. They were very kind enough to send it to me, and I am so excited, guys, but also terrified. I haven't read a book this long. Like, thinking about it, maybe in a couple of years, actually. I have no idea the last time I read a book this big, but to be fair, all the books in the Aragon series were huge as well, and I still very, very much enjoyed them. So just wanted to share with you my little bit of exciting book post. Actually, whilst we're here, let's just do some book post, because I did get some other bits and pieces yesterday that I didn't share with you. So I was sent these 2 books from Vintage, which are fairy tale retellings, reworkings by 2 quite popular authors. We have Camilla Shamsi, who wrote Homefire. She's written other books as well, but Homefire is the book I've read by her, which was actually a Greek myth retelling, and I really enjoyed that. And then Mallory Blackman, who I'm sure you will recognise as the author of Knots and Crosses. But this is Duckling, which is based on The Ugly Duckling, and this is Blue Blood, which is based on Bluebeard. And they are children's books, but they're slightly older children. They are heavily text-based. They're not like a few sentences for lots of illustrations. So that's what they look like inside. And I have to confess, these books have very much got me in the headspace of thinking about Christmas gift guides. I know it's only the beginning of October. Well, it's actually still the end of September when I'm recording this. October starts tomorrow. But I'm very much like starting to think about both what I'm going to include in my Christmas gift guide, because I've been seeing more sort of books that come out at this time of year, which are very much aimed at these sort of Christmas gift Christmas gift buying market, which is sort of why publishing publishes so much this time of year, and I'm getting an idea of what I want to include in my gift guide. I've started writing a list, and these are definitely going to be in that because I think these are really beautiful. But I also sort of have started saving a lot of things I want to buy my like friends and family for Christmas. I think part of it is just like, you know, sort of how horrendous this whole year has been in total, and how long it's been since I've seen most of my friends. So I'm just getting sort of excited about like things I can order for them and post to them, and then we can like open them over Zoom together and just like have something nice to look forward to. I'm like feeling more embracing of Christmas this year. So this is my 4th Christmas without my dad, and the past few Christmases my mum and I have been very, 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 very chill. We haven't even really done Christmas presents because I just, well, all the emotions tied up in it. But this year I just kind of like want to actually sort of embrace Christmas and enjoy it more, although on like sort of different terms from maybe in the past when we were celebrating with my dad. I'm not trying to recreate that, but I think given everything that's happened this year, I really just want to like have a lovely Christmas and sort of like pick up nice presents. I've also been saving a bunch of stuff on Depop I want to get for my mom. So yeah, I'm basically tangent, but these put me in the mood for Christmas even though it's not even Halloween. So that's my book post haul. Okay, I'm ready. So this is an update that has literally nothing to do with reading for the Femme Fatale, but it happened today, so I'm vlogging, I'm in Thai, and by the time this vlog goes up, you'll have probably seen if you follow me on other social media platforms, but my book got shortlisted for an award. What? So if you don't know, I wrote a children's non-fiction book all about Greek mythology. So it's a collection of all like the original Greek myths, sort of written in a style that is both informative but appropriate for children, with also lots of information about like what those stories meant. Can you tell there's a radiator there that needs to be fixed? That's getting done on Sunday. With lots of context about sort of like what those myths mean to the ancient Greeks and like how they shared them, and just ancient Greek religion in general. And it was published by DK back in the summer in August. It was my first book, and it's been shortlisted for the Books in My Bag Breakthrough Author Award. So yeah, so me and my book. have been shortlisted for Breakthrough Author Award, but I have to say, like, I feel like the illustrator Kate Ponder deserves as much credit as I do, because like her illustrations absolutely bring the book to life. Why am I not showing it to you? I'm not exactly sure. I'm a little bit like, what's going on? Let's go find my copy of my own book. Here it is. So this is it here. As you can see, the illustrations are stunning. So like, yes, it's my baby, but like, it was birthed by more than one person. This is what some of the illustrations inside look like. It is so stunning. And I can say that because I didn't do it, so that's not narcissistic in the slightest. But yeah, so it's been shortlisted for the Books by Bag Award, which is kind of like absolutely overwhelming for Breakthrough Author, alongside 3 absolutely incredible authors. So competition is steep, and I don't really, like, I'm not just saying this, but I don't really expect to win, especially given who else is up for the award. But being shortlisted is freaking incredible. I never anticipated that in the slightest. So like, I am thrilled regardless of like the outcome of these awards, and will not be disappointed either way. It is a public voting award, so the shortlists are chosen by booksellers, which is incredible in itself. Like, I feel like when I was a kid, I used to go to the bookshop. So, well, sometimes multiple times a month with my dad, but we had a monthly trip. We would always go to the bookshop once a month. I can't speak. Usually to Waterstones, and my parents would give me £15 every month. So they would give me £15 every month, and that £15 was my book money. I was only allowed to spend it on books. So I would take it to the bookshop with my dad, and we would spend the longest time, sometimes my mum as well, we would spend ages there, and I would pick out my books I was going to spend my money on, and then the rest of the month I'd usually use the library. But I'd often get so much help, especially when I was like getting a little bit older, moving into the teen section, and when I was like, even like when I was like 12, I started to look in the adult section and stuff like that, and booksellers were so helpful. And it's just incredible to me that like my like non-fiction DK book is enjoyed by booksellers, and they're maybe recommending it to kids in the bookshops, and like that's so flattering and special. So the fact that it was an award that was chosen by booksellers is pretty special. I feel like I'm not being very articulate. But the winners are chosen by the public, so it's a public voting, and you go onto the Books by Bag website, and there's multiple categories, so you don't just vote on Breakthrough Author. There's like Poetry Award, Children's Award, Young Adult Award, Non-Fiction Award, and you can vote for as many of them or as few of them if you want. Like, if you've not read any of the books in any of the categories except for one, and you don't want to vote in all the categories, you don't have to. And when you enter, you get also entered into a competition to win £100 in book vouchers, because Books by Bag are sponsored by National Book Tokens. So I am just sharing that with you in case you want to go and vote. You do not have to vote for me, but you can now go and vote up until, I think it's the 25th or the 20-something of October, and you will get entered into a giveaway, and there is the option to vote for me if you would like to. But like, there's no point in me saying go vote for me, because like, it's your decision, and it's what book you think should win, and what books you've read, and what books you like, authors you want to nominate. I don't know. So I mean, thank you if you do, but like, no hard feelings if you don't. It's just kind of like amazing that I've even been shortlisted, and super overwhelmed, but like happy. Like, it's just really special. So like, really enjoying that. In terms of reading for the Femme Fatale, I'm still reading the same 2 books, because like I said, I have not been with the reading mojo at all this week. I was working yesterday, like I mentioned. I ended up moving my work day to day for like reasons to do with the campaigns we're working on, so that's been rescheduled for next week, to go alongside other days I'm doing. But basically today I ended up not working on the job I thought I was working on today. So again, I've just sort of been trying to catch up with things, and I'm about to go film a YouTube video because I've got to do my wrap up, which is not going to be very exciting given my little reading slump, since I only think I finished 3 or 4 books in the month of September. I don't even know what month it is in September, so I've not got tons to talk about, but I still want to talk about them, so I'm going to go film that. And then my mum wants help with some house stuff, so I'm going to help her do that, since like my plan for the day has like been shifted slightly. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. And I'd also like to finish, because I haven't finished it, yeah, so I'm going to finish Trail of Lightning, and I am going to finish it today because I am 2/3 of the way through now. I'm past page 200 and there's just under 300 pages. So, like, I can totally do it today. I'm going to do it and I'm going to update you and give you my full thoughts. But yeah, that's happening. Going to do that today as well. Yeah, absolutely. And then I'm definitely going to start another book before this blooming readathon ends. I don't know what is wrong with me at the moment, but I'm still enjoying what I have read. And this is a very random vlog. Yeah. So, thanks. That was your update. It is finished. I have finished Trail of Lightning. I've got my mouth guard in, so it might sound a little bit funny, but yeah, I've done it. I've finished the book, guys. And to be fair, given how slumpy I've been recently, finishing a book in Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, I say 5, but I only started it on Sunday evening. So, like, 4.5 days is actually pretty good. So I'm pleased with sort of, like, how this book was paced in terms of, like, what I needed right now. I will say, however, the events of this book, the majority of it take place over, like, 3 days, and then the whole thing's, like, maybe 4 or 5 days or something. But, like, even a book that is set over the course of a week, too much happens. Like, I really enjoyed it, but I find the timeline of how much happened in those few days and the relationships that were built, even in an intense environment, like, a little bit hard to digest. So I think I'm just going to pretend it all took longer, because then it's more believable to me. So why not? And that's a pretty minor complaint. I actually did think it was a really like, engaging read, especially once I, like, got a little bit further into it, and it was like I think around, like, by, like, page 100 there's so much, like, going on that you feel really, like, it just becomes a page turner, basically. Especially if you're not in a slump, then you probably read it in, like, a day or two. So yeah, I'm really pleased that I've finally finished a book, and I'm going to start another physical book tomorrow because I'm tired now and I want to go to sleep. And then carry on with Juliet Miller on audiobook as well. So, yay! Hey, Sandwich. Oh, where is he? Hey, Sandwich. Now I'm going to go to sleep. So, see you later. So last night I couldn't actually get quite to sleep as quickly as I would have liked, and I ended up picking up a Kindle book. I decided I wanted to read something quite short, like a short story or a novella, just to help me with, like, sort of pacing the readathon after having just finished, like, a full-length novel, and because I've been a bit slumpy. So I ended up picking up The Price of Meat by KJ Charles on my Kindle, which I bought a couple of weeks ago for, like, 99p or something like that, because it's sort of like an alternative history speculative horror set in Victorian London with, like, elements of Sweeney Todd in there, and it just sounded brilliant. Plus, I've read one book by KJ Charles in the past, which was quite different because it was a sort of cozy mystery romance set in 1920s, but I loved it, so I was really keen to read something else by her. But I must say, I think I over anticipated how speculative it was. Like, I don't know if this technically counts as SFF. It's alternative history horror, and I'd be intrigued to hear what you think about alternative history. Like, where does alternative history sit as a genre? Is it just its own thing, or does it sort of come under the branch of SFF? It certainly feels like it's speculative because it's speculating in alternative history, but could you really call it fantasy or science fiction? I don't know, but it is very short, and I got to, like, 30% of the way through last night really quickly, and now this afternoon I just took a little coffee break outside because it's actually quite sunny somehow. It's not warm, but it was sunny, so I sat outside in my jumper and read for, like, half an hour with my coffee and managed to get to about 50%, so just, like, a really quick little read, plus super intriguing and dark, so perfect for this kind of year with Halloween on the horizon. So I don't know if it was the best choice in terms of SFF, but it is written by a woman, and I'm going to finish it today because it's so quick, so I may as well just carry on. It doesn't feel like the kind of book because it's not really a book, it's a novella, it's a short story even, so putting it down feels unnecessary because it's so short. So I'm going to finish that today, and I've also listened to a little bit of Juliet Marillier, just like cracking on with that one. I'm still not like super far into it. I've maybe listened to like 9 chapters, I think, and I'm mainly just infuriated by the actions of some of the characters in this book. It's not like the 2 main characters, but like the side characters. I'm like, why did you do that? If you hadn't done that, this would never have happened. But I often get like that when I'm reading Juliet Marillier, because you get so invested and you just feel like, that's my reactions to Juliet Marillier's writing. So I'm excited to see where that goes next, but I don't have any major updates. So yeah, that's kind of what we're reading. I'll finish my little short story today, and then start another actual novel, and hopefully finish that and the Juliet Marillier before the readathon is over. So yeah, quick non-reading interlude. Don't mind the laundry. I know not everyone's interested in this, but I also know some people enjoy it, so why not fling it in a video like this? But I thought I'd do a little like outfit of the day, because I'm wearing this super cute little skirt that I got secondhand. You can see it. It's from Sainsbury's, but I got it in the charity shop for £3.99. It's in great condition. You maybe need a little bit of a debobble, but I think that's just the fabric. And it feels like perfect autumn vibes. Like, it's making me get excited for like autumn clothes. I'm not great at that transitional period. It's sort of when suddenly temperatures change, you're like, oh, I don't know what to wear. So like, it's nice to have like a few little new pieces to add in that will just sort of like help you revamp. And then it also just matches perfectly with this jumper that I already had. This sort of like tealy green jumper. There's little pearls down the side, which is from my Selfridge, and it was a Christmas present like 3 years ago. So I've just like kept wearing it. It's actually held up pretty well, and obviously wearing and using what you already have is just as important to sustainable fashion, if not more, than buying like second hand. So I just thought these went so well together, and I thought I'd share with you my little outfit today. I'm not really doing anything other than working from home today, so I haven't like done anything with my hair particularly. It's just like clipped back to the side of my face, and I do have some jazzy earrings on, and I did put these. I love earrings, they're my favourite type of jewellery, so even when I'm not doing much I often put earrings on. They're like moons and stars and little pearls, so I thought they went quite nicely with the fact that the jumper has little pearls. So yeah, my little sustainable thrifty outfit of the day. Good morning. So I'm finishing off my makeup, and I just thought I would chat to you whilst I do that. Multitasking. It is the most miserable day outside. It is absolutely chucking it down with rain. I'll try and get a wee clip for you, but yeah, it is absolutely like soaking wet outside. That's the wrong thing. But it is also Bookshop Day in Britain, so it's like National Bookshop Day, which is all about like supporting and celebrating bookshops and booksellers in person. Like this horrible feeling. Imagine if this is on time lapse instead of actually recording. Shall I check? Okay, it's fine. It was recording properly. I have no idea how to work this new phone. So yeah, it's Bookshop Day, but it's absolutely horrible outside, and I would like to go and visit a bookshop or two and just sort of like share that with you, share some bookshops in Edinburgh, maybe pick up a book, you know, to celebrate. But one, it's bucketing with rain, and two, there is a pandemic. So I am going to go for a walk in the rain because I'm Scottish and hardy, and we're like totally cool with that. So I am going to go for a walk. I'm going to try and pop into some bookshops, but if all fails and they're busy and I feel uncomfortable and like people aren't socially distancing properly when I'm inside, then obviously I will cease with that plan. And to be honest, I'm pretty used to getting absolutely drenched in the rain. Like I said, I'm very Scottish through and through, so that doesn't bother me too much as long as like I can keep like my bag dry. So I'll take a waterproof and an umbrella. So that's kind of my plan today. I'd like to do that. I also started reading another book on my Kindle, which I cannot locate at the moment. But I started reading, I can't even remember what it's called. I think I have it saved to my desktop. Can I find you? When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain, which is the second book following The Empress of Salt and Fortune, but I'm not sure if they're like direct sequels, because basically in book one in this series, which is a novella series published by Tor, we learn this story of this empress and her servant, as it's told to these like history keepers, these people that are responsible for like picking stories up from throughout the land and sort of collecting them and keep storing them. And we are now following that story keeper again, as I assume she learns of a new tale and a new person in this world, so a little bit different. And because it's a novella, it's very short. So again, I just felt like I want to stick with short things. I know it's not what was originally on my TBR, but I got approved for this to review on NetGalley. I loved book one. I read that really quickly. And just the way I am with the Slumbering Eye, I feel like short books are working for me a little bit better. They don't feel as intimidating. So I'm enjoying what I've read of that so far. I've read about 15% on my Kindle. So that's kind of what else I'm planning on reading over this weekend. But yeah, I'm gonna finish my makeup and head out, and I will try and get some footage whilst I'm out. So it is the final day of Femme Fatale. We are Sunday to Sunday. We have made it. And I thought I would share with you the books that I bought yesterday, because as you see, I did end up going into some bookshops. They were all really nice and chill. I don't know if it was also because it was pouring with rain that less people went out, but I had a really nice experience in all 3 bookshops that I went into. And I bought books in 2 of those, so I'm going to share those with you. I ended up getting 3 books in Blackwell's for obvious reasons. These were all in 3 for 2, and they were all books that I wanted to buy and have been wanting to buy for ages. So one of them is a piece of classical literature. This is Diogenes the Cynic, Sayings and Anecdotes, with other popular moralists. So apparently there are some other sort of philosophers in here, but Diogenes was the founder of the school of Cynics, the sort of cynicism philosophy during the Hellenistic period in ancient Greece. And he's actually someone I found very interesting, and I wrote on when I was at university, and I've always meant to pick up a copy of like sort of the sayings and texts we have that other people have preserved in terms of what he apparently said. So I am really pleased this is in 3 for 2 and that Blackwell's had it, because like I said, I've actually been wanting that for a while, and particularly because I would also quite like to work on some new sort of Greek philosophy projects in the future, so it would be good to have that. I then have Ruby by Nina Allen, and I have to say, as you saw yesterday, it was raining, and my books did get a little bit wet. I don't know if you can see that, but this one has got some slight like bubbling. I think Diogenes managed to escape the rain, but this one definitely got a little bit wet, and then my third one got quite wet. But this, I believe, is a slightly creepy historical SF or fantasy book, and I've been hearing really good things about it, and it just came out. This is a story of Ruby Castle, which is told in snapshots and fleeting glimpses and secret histories, in tales repeated and reinvented by those who fall under the horror film actress's spell. That's what it's about. It is about a fictional famous horror actress sort of in the early days of cinema. And it just sounds so interesting and perfect for this time of year. So I picked that up. Oh God, I can still feel some of the wet in it. I might put that on the radiator. I forgot to sort of do that yesterday. I just left them in the bag. And then lastly, we have this, which I don't know if you can see, but this got quite wet up at the top. So it's sort of like had a little bit of sort of distress, but do you know what, the words haven't run, like all of the ink inside is fine, so these are all still perfectly readable, and that's all that matters. So this is Dead Girls by Selva Almada, translated by Annie Mcdermott, because I believe this one is about Argentina. Yes, evoking the intimate first-hand knowledge, the heat and dust of provincial Argentina. This is a true crime work, so it's about a group of teenage girls who were all murdered in a small town in Argentina in the 1980s, and it's true crime, like I mentioned, and I thought this sounded really, really, really interesting. I've heard this writer is absolutely fantastic. She's also written fiction, but this is obviously non-fiction. So we have that, and then last but not least is this book, which I've just taken the dust jacket off because it is wet, and I hadn't noticed that it had quite a big wet patch because I couldn't really tell from the outside because it's black, but I did this to the book. But again, perfectly readable, it really doesn't matter. But the front cover of this one looks like this, which is absolutely stunning, and it's Hag, Forgotten Folktales Retold. So this is just out now, and again, beautiful, beautiful edition. Shame I slightly marked it, but it will still read all the same. And we've got slightly wrinkled pages as well. It's all part of like the story. I'll remember that these books I bought on that bookshop day where it was pouring with rain and they all got a little bit wet. So that's kind of cute. So these are all unpopular or just fairy tales that are maybe less popular as retold by a bunch of authors who I love. So let me tell you who we've got inside here. We've got Daisy Johnson, love her. We have Naomi Booth, love her. Then we have some authors that I don't know: Ireneson Okiji, Christy Logan, who I know and love, Masuda Snaith, Amir McBride, who I haven't read but heard good things about, Liv Little, Emma Glass, Natasha Carthew, and Imogen Hermes Gower, who I have read and love. So that is absolutely wonderful. And it actually has the original tales in the back, like the short versions of the original fairy tales. So really, really excellent introduction to some fairy tales and folk tales that I don't know very well, that aren't as popular, retold by these incredible women writers. I just think it sounds absolutely fantastic. Perfect again for this time of year. Perfect time for it to come out during the Halloween season, and this is a gorgeous cover. So again, I'm just going to pop that on the radiator to make sure it's completely dried all the way through. And the same with the other books, but I'm still really pleased with my haul. Oh, and I bought this one in Lighthouse Books, which is a lovely radical bookstore in Edinburgh. So I had a really, really nice time visiting all those bookshops. I'm about halfway through Juliet Marillier at this point and enjoying it, but I don't think I'm going to finish it because I don't think there's enough time in this day for me to listen to the rest of the audiobook and do the other things I have to do and finish off The Tiger Who Came Down from the Mountain. But I will definitely finish The Tiger Who Came Down from the Mountain and then share my thoughts with you once I have finished that, and then that will sort of be the wrap up in the end of the readathon. But I have had a lot of fun, and even though I haven't read tons, I've still certainly read more than I have been reading in the space of a week recently, so that's still fantastic and probably has helped me push in through this slump a little bit, so that's fantastic. And it's also been nice seeing what you've been reading when you've shared it on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube, etc. I always really enjoy the recommendations I get. So yeah, I will probably have another little check-in before this vlog is over, but I hope you've enjoyed it so far. We'll see you then. So it's the next morning and I'm just about to have my morning coffee in bed, but I actually stayed up quite late reading The Tiger That Came Down from the Mountain on my Kindle because I really wanted to finish it during the readathon, although technically I went past midnight, so I guess I went beyond the readathon, but I finished it and I really enjoyed it. I have to say, this author just has such a way of weaving like a lyrical little sort of fairy tale in her books. They feel so fable-like and beautiful, and I really, really appreciate that. This one was a little bit different from the other book in this series, and they're more companions than anything else. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to sort of reading more by this author in the future. So that was like a grand success. And now I have my coffee to drink whilst I wake up and then get started with my day. I hope you're all doing well and you've enjoyed this little vlog. Until the next one.